I'm Sasha Pitkevich, leader of Blockchain Professionals Community. Another year has passed, and it's a time to open our conference again. The story unwraps blockchain technology and its adoption, steadily progressing, demonstrating us more and more adoption cases and technology improvements. Let's look back since the last time we meet each other on blockchain days. For last year, Europe implemented the Markets and Crypto Assets (MiCA) regulations, the first comprehensive crypto regulatory framework, enhancing market stability and consumer protection while fostering innovation. The PIN, the centralized physical infrastructure network, emerged, enabling shared management and monetization of physical devices like GPUs without centralized control, useful for compute-intensive tasks such as AI services. Integration of AI and blockchain grew with AI-generated smart contracts that self-optimize and audit themselves, improving security and efficiency. Projects like Fetch AI use AI-powered autonomous agents for data analysis and supply chain optimization. Stablecoin adoption increased globally by 15%, with almost 100 million addresses holding dollar-pegged tokens. Stablecoins gained traction in emerging markets such as Nigeria, India, and Brazil due to economic stability benefits. Tokenization of the real-world assets surged, reaching a market value of $3.5 billion with 700% annual growth, including luxury brands like Louis Vuitton tokenized items. The UK leads in digital asset ownership growth in 2025, with ownership rising from 18 to 24 year on year among surveyed populations. Global cryptocurrency ownership reached approximately half of the 1,000 million users in 2024. That's about 6.8% of the world population, up to 34 from 2023. It's not bad. They say that new technology adoption takes about 30 years, and we now close to the middle of adoption cycle. And that's the time to open our yearly event, our blockchain days, with its amazing content covering this year 5 days topics. First day called Foundation and Innovation, and we are going to discuss trends and ideas. Second day is devoted to the changes happening in the financial domain. The following third day covers security, privacy, and governance. Thursday is, as usual, the Builders' Day with the focus of solution scalability. And the last day called Future Frontiers, and it is full with the innovation topics. Each day we have amazing speakers. I'll mention just a few of them. Please check out our agenda on Luma, via Community, or Eventbrite sites to find more. On a Thursday, we are all awaiting the presentation of Vadim Manaenko, who will tell us about the integrations and connections between hardware and blockchain networks. Alistair Robert Brown is going to speak about digital money, open banking, and central bank digital currencies on a second day, where we are also going to hear the voices of Harvard School. On a third day, we are going to have a legal panel, and the leaders of the industry and the legal professionals connected to the crypto and blockchain companies and solutions are going to discuss the current domain, the current legal domain, and they could also answer your questions. Join our legal panel, and you can find the answers of what you've already been looking for. And we are also going to discuss emerging topics like real-world assets tokenization, decentralized science, decentralized artificial intelligence, and the governance tooling. And that's scattered among all 5 days. And we are here not just to listen, we're here to connect. That's the purpose of our community, connect blockchain professionals all over the globe. And so our engagement team has prepared a full calendar of community activities. We are going to have bingo, comedy night, daily quizzes, and yes, we are going to distribute prizes this year. Each day, our volunteering team will send out feedback forms to collect your thoughts on sessions and community events. So don't be shy. Your feedback shapes how we grow. And throughout the event, stay active in the chat. Ask questions, share insights, and connect with the fellow participants and the speakers. We have uh, Q&A possibilities during the talks, and we also have Telegram channels for communications. We are building the community together. Thank you for being part of the Community Day 2025. That's the time to open our fifth conference. Let's go and explore the future.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Blockchain Community Day. I'm thrilled to announce our first speaker, someone who truly understands what it means to operate at Web3 scale. First things first, I'm Farouk. I'm gonna be your moderator for the whole conference. Managing a single blockchain is already a challenge, but what about 60, 70 plus chains? That's exactly what we're about to explore. Please welcome Dr. Ravi Chamria, co-founder and CEO of Z, India's leading no-code blockchain infrastructure as a service platform, empowering over 30,000 users throughout the world. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Ravi.
No, absolutely.
The floor is totally yours. Uh, let's dive in.
Yeah. Can you see my screen properly, like the full screen?
We can see it perfectly.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Ravi. I'm the co-founder CEO of Zeef. And first of all, before I get started, I would like to thank VR Community. It's an amazing initiative that they have, and it's a uh, pretty amazing conference that they have set up with incredible lineup of speakers and builders in Web3 space. And we at Zeev are very excited to partner with VR Community to be part of this conference. So thanks once again to VR Community. Now, the topic which I'm covering today is managing app chain infrastructure at scale. So first, let's understand what app chains are. So we have seen the enterprise adoption, which started happening in 2016-17 with some of the permission protocols like Hyperledger, Fabric, Besu. Then R3 Coda came in as a bank consortium. And then quite a few other stacks. So all the enterprises, typically, they were launching a consortium network or a network of their own based on a certain application. So for example, somebody wants to launch a trade finance platform. And along with that, they want to have their own blockchain. So we call this an app chain, an application specific blockchain. So on the enterprise side, we had some of the permission stacks like Fabric Besu. And on the other hand, even in the public domain, we were seeing a lot of L1s coming into picture. And when we say L1s, I mean layer one blockchains, public chains that people were launching. And some of them were general purpose chains. So general purpose chain, you could take an example of, for example, Ethereum or Polygon POS or Binance Smart Chain. These are general purpose public chains or L1s on which, any developer can go, they can deploy their smart contract, they can deploy their dApps and start using it. On the other hand, there are quite a few app chains, and app chains means you're launching a platform specific to an application. Now, examples could be anything. Somebody launching a trade finance platform like they were Marco Polo, or in any other domain. So we see a massive amount of app chains. So the whole concept of app chains is application specific chains where you have your own layer one chain and it is specific to an application or a set of applications within a domain, like for example, Injective focused on financial applications. So that is what we mean by app chains. Now, why app chains have suddenly become such a rage in last 2 3 years? And this I think is a natural progression. So we saw that there are lots and lots of dApps being deployed on public chains like Ethereum. But then what happens as your dApp grows and you start having more transactions, more users as part of your community, then in that case, you start fighting or competing for block space on the public chain. And it may lead to higher gas prices, as we have seen in quite a few incidences where, based on a new NFT project launch or a gaming project launch, suddenly the gas prices spiked up. So, but when you are launching your own application-specific chain, what do you want? You want complete control over the user experience, and for that to happen, you need to have your own set of configurations, or you want to have control over throughput, you want to control over gas economics, and so on and so forth. So that is why app chains started picking up, and lot of people started launching their own app chains. But one of the major challenge at that time was there were no proper stacks to launch an app chain. Forking a code, which was a normal norm at that time, taking Ethereum fork or Lisk fork, it was a nightmare because these code bases were not written to be replicated, and that's why it was very difficult to fork a chain and create your own L1 or your app chain. Then came the stacks, proper stacks that you can use to launch. So first we saw the advent of some of the app chain stacks like Cosmos SDK or Avalanche subnets, and then Substrate parachains, where you can use some of these stacks and launch your own sovereign chain. And then 2 years back came the concept of rollups. Again, using rollup stacks like OP Stack or Arbitrum Orbit, you can launch your own app chain. Uh, Specifically called rollup, but it falls under the general category of app chain. So this is basically the reason why app chains have become more and more important, and why we are seeing lots and lots of builders launching their own app chains and rollups. According to RootScan, a recent report which was released about a few weeks back, out of almost 2,000 active chains, 70% are app chains or modular rollups across layer 1, layer 2, or layer 3. And this is significant. So we are seeing that there's a massive advent of builders launching their own app chains, and most of this has been powered by some of the stacks which I just mentioned. So what app chains provides? One, it provides superior user experience, and experience encompasses all the desired characteristics. Whether you want to have your own custom configurations, if you're launching an enterprise chain and you want to have compliances, you want to have data compliances or adherence to regulations, or you require high throughput, or you require a different kind of consensus or governance model. So all this is possible only when you have full control over the underlying chain, and that's why app chains can be considered as the future of Web3. Now, in terms of evolving landscape, these are some of the primary stacks that I mentioned about. So if you want to launch an optimistic rollup, you have OP Stack and Arbitrum Orbit, primary optimistic rollup stacks. And then we have ZK stacks like ZK Sync. And then we have typical app chain stacks, launching your own sovereign L1s, where we have Cosmos SDK, a massive ecosystem of Cosmos, where Cosmos is a hub and you can create your spoke chains. It can be a completely independent sovereign L1 using Cosmos SDK, or you can still connect with other chains within the Cosmos ecosystem through using various interoperability tools. Similarly, we have Avalanche subnets, which has now been rebranded as Avalanche L1s. So you can launch your own sovereign L1s using Avalanche L1 stack. And the best part is you can launch from complete permissionless chain to a permission chain. And then we have parachains. You can use Substrate framework to launch your own parachains. So these are primary stacks which constitute the app chain landscape today. Our journey, we have been in launching app chains and rollups for more than 4 years now. And our journey has been, we started with enterprise protocols like Fabric Besu, helped quite a few enterprises launch their blockchain applications using a complete permission stack, highly secured, compliant, etc. And then we started seeing this trend of launching app chains in the public Web3 space as well. And that's where we partnered with some of these stacks and started offering app chains to different customers. And today we are running almost 70 plus production app chains for various customers across various stacks, and almost 350 plus testnets. And in our journey, there has been a massive amount of learning, which I'm here to share today. And we realized that launching your own app chain, especially getting the same kind of experience when you deploy your dApp on a public chain, it should be similar. It was not 4 years back when people were forking Ethereum fork or Bitcoin fork or different other protocols. It used to take hundreds of thousands of dollars to build such a platform, and at the same time there was a massive cost of infrastructure managing it, and there were massive overheads. And once these stacks came in, we started investing into these stacks and created a whole set of infrastructure tools to ensure that launching an app chain is as easy as launching a smart contract. So now coming to the main topic as to what we have learned, what have been our learning. So what are the major challenges when you talk about your own app chain? Now, just to differentiate further, when you are launching a smart contract on a public chain, the desired infrastructure is already there. You simply need to deploy your DApp, you need to deploy your smart contracts, and you may need to use some of the third-party integrations which are already available on that public chain. So if you want to use Interop, or you want to use, let's say, decentralized oracles from Chainlink or Redstone, you can simply plug in because their support is already on that public chain. But when you launch your own app chain, then you need to take care of each and every aspect of it. It gives you a lot of flexibility, independence, control, but at the same time, you require to manage the entire infrastructure yourself. So that is the downside of it, and that is where we come in. So first is the launch phase, where you need to understand what kind of custom configurations you require depending on your use case. If it's a DeFi use case, you may require high throughput. If it's an enterprise use case in the financial services space, you may require strict data compliances, or let's say in healthcare, or it's a payment use case, so very, very high throughput and scalability, because infrastructure demand can go up and down anytime. So depending on your use case, you do require a lot of custom configs. So that becomes a challenge as to, because once you set the configurations, many of the configurations cannot be changed later, as you can do in a case of a public chain. That is not true when you talk about an app chain. And then, of course, you need to have a very solid infrastructure, high availability of nodes and the sequencers and validators, all different kind of node infrastructure. And then validator onboarding, especially if you are launching, let's say, a POA-based chain. You may have a consortium where you want to have a permissioned onboarding. Or let's say you have a POS-based public chain. You still want to make it easy for the validators to join your chain. And then smart contract versioning, etc. So these are some of the pieces that you need to take care when you are launching your chain. The second phase is operations and lifecycle management. Now that becomes very important, because now you need to take care of the chain upgrades and all the maintenance overheads. So newer updates, because all these stacks are like piece of software where continuous upgrades and updates will continue to happen. So you need to ensure that your chain always updates and upgrades whenever a new version is there. And then, of course, security and decentralization trade-offs. You need to be very clear as to, depending on the use case, depending on your requirements, how much security and compliances need to be there, how much decentralization needs to be there, and accordingly choose the right stack and configure it properly. And then highly scalable infra, where on-demand scaling can happen. At the same time, you also need to ensure that your infrastructure is not just highly available, but well distributed across the globe, so that there are, it leads to higher decentralization, at the same time lesser risk and more security. And the third phase is reliability and support. Once you have launched your chain, now you want a very solid management dashboard and monitoring capabilities, so that you can monitor the chain, all your nodes, etc., so that you can be ensured that all the performance criteria are being met and the user experience is top notch. And then, of course, it needs to have a very strict SLAs, different kind of observability tooling. And then in addition to that, you also may require different third parties integrations, whether it be account abstraction or interoperability or oracles. So you need to take care of all these different pieces as well. And so based on these challenges, what are the best practices of creating your own app chain with a highly scalable and reliable node infrastructure? So first is automate the bootstrapping of nodes. So as I mentioned, depending on whether you're launching a POA, POS, or any other different kind of consensus chains, depending on how permissionless or permissioned it is, you may require bootstrapping of nodes. So why we created one-click testnet? The only reason is not just to bring in high level of automation and reducing human errors, but at the same time, while you are launching your testnet, at the same time, you may require some iterations. let's say you did some initial configs, launch your testnet, and then tried your use case, tried your smart contracts, and then you did some kind of benchmarking based on performance matrix and other metrics, and you realize that okay, we need to fine tune the configs again. So that's why you require that test nets can be created again and again on the fly, and it should be very easy to launch a test net. Then pre-integrate core components. So when you launch your chain, there are certain set of core components. Like your chain will come up with the set of different kind of nodes. It will come up with a block explorer, because every chain needs to have a block explorer where people can see the transaction confirmation, different transactions, and so on and so forth. Then you also need to have faucet if you're launching a testnet, so that the builders or your own developers can use the faucet to mint tokens and use them while testing out the apps. And you may require some essential bridges, like when you're launching a rollup, you may require an L2 to L1 bridge. Or if you're even launching an app chain using some of the L1 stacks, you still may require interoperability or bridges to bridge some tokens. Maybe your use case demands you to bridge USDC or USDT. So you require all these core components. And then geo redundancies becomes very important, because you want your infra to be highly distributed. And if it's permissionless, you want more and more validators to come in from different areas, and become part of your chain. So that again becomes very, very important. Your RPC, public RPC, should be highly performant, at the same time reliable, so that all the dApps which are running on your chain can perform very properly. And then at the same time, you need to have load balancing, active failover, high availability. So all the tenets of high availability, that becomes very, very important. And then one simple thing is use snapshots, so that whenever you are, let's say, if you are upgrading the chain, or you need to create a hard fork because you want to make some major changes in your in your Genesis configuration, then having a snapshot makes it very easy to resync the chain, and so on and so forth. Uh, Now, if you talk about the best practices of validator and sequencer, now this is very important, because any chain is decentralized to the extent how their validators are performing. So you need to have good number of validators, and at the same time, those validators must be active. They must be validating the chain properly with high uptime, and so on and so forth. In the case of rollups, there's no concept of validator per se. Instead of that, you have sequencers, and their sequences again become very important, because sequences are the ones which are sequencing the transactions that are happening on the chain, and then passing on, using those transactions, it relays it to data availability layer, or to generate the proofs, whether optimistic proofs or ZK proofs. So it's very important to adhere to all the different best practices for managing your validator and sequencer network. So one is, as I mentioned, onboarding access, so that anyone can easily become a validator on your chain. Now it can be a simple documentation, how to onboard, and people can launch their own validator node on your chain. Or it can be resorting to platform like Zeev to create one-click validator onboarding, so that even non-technical users can simply make few clicks and launch a validator on your chain. And similarly, same goes for the sequencer, or let's say, in the case of optimistic proofs, verifier nodes. So same as goes for validator nodes in the sovereign L1s. Similarly, having verifier nodes or sequencer, making it very, very easy and highly available. And then version control for consensus upgrades. That is again very, very important, so that whenever a change is happening, the validator binary also needs to be upgraded. So we need to ensure that all the validators have been updated with the newest code base. And in addition to that, having a very solid 24/7 proactive monitoring is very important, so that you can see, because when you are launching a chain at the start, you may have a lesser number of validators. So let's say you start a chain with 8 to 10 validators. Now, for example, in the case of Avalanche L1, if your more than 20% of validator nodes are not active, then your chain may go down. So that's why it is very, very important to ensure that the validators are active and they are performing their job. Then best practices for rollups and upgrades. Again, one is each rollup stack most of the rollup stacks are comparatively new. We can still say that optimistic rollup stacks like OP stack and Arbitrum Orbit are very, very mature. But ZK rollup stacks like ZK Sync, etc., are still in the process of maturing. We are now seeing a lot of production chains coming out of ZK stack, but still there are a long way to go. So there are continuous updates and upgrades that happen. So to ensure that whenever there's a release, the release is applied to your chain, which has been built using one of those stacks. Then having orchestrate safe version rollouts, use canary deployments before full rollout, and then manage app layer versioning separately. Again, super important. And then to top it all, have a sound monitoring in place to monitor not just one node type, but RPC nodes, your sequencer nodes, your prover nodes, your verifier nodes, and then your public RPC L2 and L1. Let's say you're creating a L2 rollup, then both L2 RPC as well as the L1 RPC. Then monitoring and observability is very, very important, especially as your chain grows. Initially, when you launch an app chain, it may be you maybe end up running all your validators and RPC. Comparatively, it is much easier to manage that kind of infra. But as your chain grows, if it's a permission chain with a consortium, then different consortium members will start setting up the nodes. If it's a permissionless chain, then public nodes will start coming into picture, and there would be public RPC usage as well. So in that case, having a high performance is very, very important. So in this case, having 24/7 monitoring in place, having a proper alerts and notification system so that automatic alerts can come in, and at the same time, some proactive alerts. So depending on, you can define some of the metrics, like if the CPU usage goes beyond 60%, if the memory usage or storage is getting blocked up. So all, or bandwidth is getting clogged. So all those kind of alerts and notifications need to be in place so that proper monitoring can happen. So both proactive monitoring as well as 24/7 monitoring becomes very, very important. Now, in terms of SLA and incident management, so SLAs ensures that your chain is always active. It is performing as per the criteria. And at the same time, all updates, upgrades, etc., are being taken place. And this becomes very, very important because today, user experience has been one of the most talked about challenge in the Web3 space. And if you're launching your own app chain, then the entire responsibility of having an amazing user experience falls on you. So that's why having proper SLAs to manage the chain becomes very important. And then automate the incident response, having an L1, L2 support so that all the incidents can be easily managed, whether it be security or non-security incidents. And then create learnings out of each incident that has happened so that the next iteration of chain is much stronger and much, much, much more reliable. I would like to create some case studies here. So Memento ZK chain is one of the latest chain that we launched about a few weeks back. It is one of its kind. It's an institutional grade consortium chain or a permission chain using ZK Sync Previdium. It's the first chain using Previdium, and it is part of Project Guardian, with Deutsche Bank being the first part of it. It is built using ZK chain, a ZK rollup with a Validium setup or a Previdium setup. So Validium setup in a rollup is where you have control over your data, and Previdium is where you have even better compliances of your data. Then another example is Binary Network, which is a startup in the telecom space. They already have more than 40 to 45 million wallets. And then there are a lot of different kind of apps are being launched on the network. It is has been built using Avalanche L1. It's a complete sovereign L1 chain, permissionless, and different users can join the chain, and already most of their wallet customers are joining it. And as they partner with more and more telecom players, we are going to see much, much more traction. The best part is using Avalanche L1, scalability is not a challenge. It's a very lean stack, and you can launch a chain which can scale to any numbers. Then we have CodeNet, which is again, it's more of a between permissionless and permission. It's a digital product passport use case in the automotive space, where they are tracking each and every automobile and their maintenance history and their logs, etc., using blockchain, bringing transparency for not just the vehicle owners but also the insurance players and other participants in the automotive industry. It again has been built using Avalanche L1 with some permissioning in place, especially ensuring the privacy of data like the PII data and so on and so forth. Then we have Roar, which is it's built on OP Stack. It is a layer 2 optimistic rollup, settling all their transactions on Ethereum chain. And they have a very strong ecosystem. It's a DeFi ecosystem that they have launched, including NFTs, including DEX, and cross-chain interoperability of liquidity. And then we have Skynet, which is built using Arbitrum Orbit, another optimistic rollup stack. It's a layer 3 chain. So when we say layer 3, that means your settlement layer is layer 2. So in this case, Arbitrum Nova is the settlement layer, and Skynet is a Orbit layer 3 chain. And it is purpose built for AI agent communication, designed for high speed coordination and low latency task execution. So key takeaways, if you talk about, so one, all app chains need a production ready, highly scalable infrastructure, and that kind of mindset is required. So just imagine in Web 2, when you are launching an enterprise grade application, infrastructure becomes super, super important. Similarly, when you are launching an app chain, your infrastructure requires a clear strategy, clear planning, and clear execution. And then cross-tech experience is critical. So at times we provide a massive consulting on which stack to choose, depending on your use case, depending on your ecosystem preference, depending on what kind of smart contracts you want, any language preferences, etc. Choice of a right stack becomes very, very important, and that requires gaining expertise across different stacks. And then bringing automation, 24/7 monitoring, again becomes very important, so that you can spin up test nets on the fly, test it out, and ensure that your infrastructure is highly reliable, at the same time high performing. And then having sound monitoring in place, so to ensure the longevity, performance, and user experience. And so these are some of the key takeaways based on our experience of running so many app chains and rollups today. If you want to build your own app chain, Zeev provides a complete automated platform to launch your testnets in just a few clicks, and at the same time, a complete platform to launch your production-ready mainnets or production app chains or rollups. It includes, helping you onboard, to monitoring, to provide third-party integrations with 60 plus partners that we have, and then ongoing monitoring and management of it to ensure that your chain is top notch and up and running. So this is all which I wanted to cover. If you have any questions, you can cover on.
Yep, we can quickly jump into the Q&A part. Yeah, let's wait for a bit if there are any questions in the chat, Mr. Ravi.
So I understand it is a lot of information to digest in one session. So if you do not have any questions right now, you can always connect me up. You can write an email to ravi@zeev.io, or follow me on Twitter or LinkedIn, or join our Discord channel and our team, or I would be very, very eager to help you with any questions you have while you move forward with your journey. Yeah, Farooq.
Please join to our Telegram channel and the group chat, because usually you get asked a lot of questions there. we'll have a separate discussion created for your session here. There. And
Absolutely.
again,
Sounds good.
huge thanks to Dr. Ravi for that insightful session. Managing 70 plus chains definitely for isn't for the faint of heart. We hope you guys took away some practical lessons from Mr. Ravi on scaling infrastructure. And don't forget to continue the conversation in our Telegram channel. The link is in the chat. You can engage with the community, with Mr. Ravi himself, and compete for some awesome prizes. Stay tuned. More sessions coming soon. We're just starting our collaboration with Zeev community and hope it's a good setting stone for us, Mr. Ravi. So please keep in touch. Thank you again. Welcome to see you on our stage once again.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks, Farooq. Thanks, VR community. And thanks, everyone, for joining the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now let's shift gears to a topic that connects Web3 with the real life world in the most meaningful way, regeneration. Now I'm excited to introduce our next speaker, Neil Smith, Chief Regeneration Officer at Grow United. Neil is here to talk about how blockchain can support farmers, improve our food systems, and help regenerate the earth. His session is called Harnessing the Power of Blockchain to Nourish People, Animals, and Plants. And it's must watch for everyone interested in sustainability and real world impact of Web3. Welcome, Neil. I think it's first time you are here presenting with blockchain professionals, and it's very early morning for you. Very welcome on the stage.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. Excellent. I'm really excited today to talk about what we're doing over at Grow and how we're really making an impact in the agriculture community and the community at large. So everyone that eats food. We connect all the way from soil to your plate or soil to shelf, as the expression goes. So today I'm going to walk you through a bit of a presentation to give you an overview of some of the things that we feel are vitally important. In short, though, we really truly are harnessing the power of blockchain to nourish people, animals, and the planet. And this is at the core foundation of everything that we do. So myself, I've been in agriculture most of my life. And one of the things that I have fought against on a regular basis is the fact that there is indiscrepancies in data, that there is a lot of fraud, and whether it's environmental credits or whether that's just traceability information, lack of knowledge, record keeping, all these pieces come into play in terms of things that I believe wholeheartedly that the blockchain can really help solve. So using the latest advances in blockchain technology, Grow has developed an approach to solve some of these industry-wide problems, inefficient processes from start to finish. And really what we were trying to do is flip the script with the food supply chain. So empowering farmers to be the heroes of the story again, and really ensure that they can have different conversations with the supply chain, meaning that the consumer can have more confidence and understanding of what they're eating so we can nourish ourselves more effectively. Nourishing people, animals, and the planet. I'm going to keep reinforcing this because at the end of the day, healthy bodies, healthy minds will enable us to have a healthy environment. We know one of the fundamental issues is that there's about 10 companies that control our food industry. And though they don't set out with any mal intent, this centralized control structure is certainly something that is a constraint or a bottleneck in our food supply chain. And what we're hoping to do with the Grow blockchain is decentralize this centralized structure. So we know that after the World Wars, decentralization was needed, but we've now moved into a tipping point where decentralize and creating more opportunities for farmers and consumers is very much the go-to. And so making the farmers of the hero of the story again comes in a few different ways. We're helping them take all the data points that are on their farm or as a land steward within their ecosystem, and the blockchain enables them to store that data in a very effective way. Of course, all of you that understand the immutability of what the blockchain offers, this is something we classify as data sovereignty. So they own their data, they can store it. It's not going to be scrubbed, tampered with, manipulated in any way. It's going to be the good, bad, ugly, warts and all. It's their data though, and it's on the blockchain. We then can analyze it, applying some of AI's wonderful technology with Web3, Web4, and really create some great reporting mechanisms based on tamper-proof data. So storage, AI, analysis, and then monetization. And with monetization, we really are providing different mechanisms, whether it's environmental credits, whether it's traceability, whether it's just creating some QR codes so consumers have better awareness of the origin of where their food came from, and creating or enabling us to share that story more effectively. These are all the things that are going to continue to propel making the farmers the hero of the story again. Of course, that means that consumers can have more trust in understanding what they're eating and what they're putting in their body. So we work a lot with different practitioners, functional health clinicians throughout North America and the world. And what we're doing from field to consumption is vitally important. But the data is going to enable us to have that peace of mind and that ability for us to truly understand the source of our food and get to know the farmers in our region. So when we start thinking about the vast distances food travels, we can then start to better understand, what goes into preservation of some of that food. This is chemistry based that we're consuming at some point, and what we could find equivalent within our local communities. And so those local food hubs or resilient food hub structures that are starting to really make a splash. We truly believe that back-ending all of that is blockchain, because it allows us to better understand the data and the components that go into continuing to decentralize our economic structures. So the Grow blockchain is a layer 1 blockchain. It was developed for that single purpose, to really nourish the world, but really flip the script on the conversations we're having from farmer to supply chain to consumer, enabling farmers to really have a larger voice, start dictating some of the pricing, start dictating some of the concerns that are going into how they're raising or growing our food, so they can start to make improvements along the way. And this also means enabling them to harness some of the technologies that blockchain offers. Smart contracts, NFTs being two great examples of this. Built on top of our blockchain are 4 foundational, I'll call them layer 2s for the simplicity of it, but applications is another word. So Farm Tracer is an example of that. We're tracing everything from soil to shelf through processing stage. It's a bespoke traceability program, meaning that we really work with the users of the traceability program and understanding the end user points, and whether that's processors, CPG, grocer, whatever that may look like, restaurant, and we can tailor this program to ensure that it's got the best outcomes. But up front, it collects a vast amount of data very effectively, stored on chain, aggregated, and then it represents that data in different reporting mechanisms. It's a wonderful tool to start that conversation on how we can flip the script and better understand where our food's coming from. We also built a opportunity for farmers and ranchers, land stewards, to tap into the environmental credit market space. We really wanted to create our own sandbox, and so we go from soil to buyer in a very effective process, still getting the rigor of the data, the verification, and then minting on our chain. And what that does for the buyer, it represents 2 great things. One, data is in an immutable spot, so it reduces the due diligence that the buyer has to qualify the data. It also allows, through NFTs, the transaction to take place more effectively. And so setting up the project, supporting the farmer at the field, we do a lot of that at Grow. It's specifically one of the roles that I take on, that project development document, and then working with our partners, MRVs, for the ongoing milestone measure and recording component. We validate or verify that information through an Oracle standpoint, and then it gets minted on chain. It's a great process, really streamlined, and we have the case studies to show that it's working very effectively. Kokima is that regen consultancy that we built on chain. We really love continuing to support farmers, ranchers, land stewards as they transition into more sustainable or regenerative practices for the betterment of the soils, the foods that they're raising or growing, or even just the ecosystem and biodiversity at large. And this is more or less a complementary service, though certainly you can use some DeFi to purchase dollars for hours through our blockchain. But as community members join and they start tapping into some of the other wonderful components, we really want to continue to be additive. And as I mentioned, as we design these systems and we help them implement these systems, every part of that system has a data piece. And so all those data pieces can go onto the chain for storage and for analysis, and then potentially monetization. And when we're thinking about monetization for farmers, it really is diversifying their balance sheet. So we're not saying DeFi or decentralized finance versus a nation's currency. It's 1 + 1 = 3 for us. Diversification, just like you would find in the fields, we need more diversification, less monocropping. We believe the same is true in your balance sheet, and that crypto or decentralized finance opportunities certainly offer that opportunity to expand that market space. Speaking of market spaces, the Nourishmart, another great foundational application that has been built on the Grow blockchain. This allows you to take your crypto, bring it into our blockchain, and purchase wholesome, nutritious food direct from farms. So it's a direct consumer. We do have a B2B opportunity in there. So if you're an agribusiness that is supplying to farmers and you yourself want to diversify your market space, maybe even your financial portfolio, we're seeing some suppliers come on and provide nature-based solutions for farmers to purchase with or Grow tokens. But for the general public or for those that aren't part of the ecosystem already, this is a spot I highly encourage you to go to. You can use your crypto. You can purchase terrific goods and services off the Nourishmart that continue to support farmers, ranchers, and suppliers in a meaningful way. And so those foundational apps really allowed us to gain some terrific traction globally in how we are utilizing blockchain effectively. We're harnessing the power of blockchain. And so you notice I don't talk a lot about the Grow token. We do have a native token within our blockchain, but that's almost tertiary in our drive to really ensure that we're using data-driven processes vis-a-vis the blockchain to effectively communicate and change the conversations that are having from field to consumer to buyer and all the way through that value supply chain. So Farm Tracer, if you are watching this, you can actually scan this QR code. It will take you to a website, and you can actually see some of the attributes for how this traceability program works. One of the great use cases of it, there's a little sports arena in Western USA that was purchased and renamed the Climate Pledge Arena. Now, the Climate Pledge Arena has a mandate to bring in sustainable or regenerative food and beverage. And one of the things they struggled with was finding a supplier to provide regenerative meat. Well, we had a farmer in the area. It's one of our larger production farms that works with our Grow blockchain all the way through his operations. They were able to demonstrate via the use of Farm Tracer that they were growing very wholesome and regenerative meat that was nutritious and met the qualifications of the chief chef at the Climate Pledge Arena. And so with our program, Farm Tracer, we are able to bring buyer and farmer to the table and secure a multi-year contract that really ensured that good food was going to get to the consumer. And so if you're at the Climate Pledge Arena, you can scan a QR code and you can actually see the origin of where your meat came from and why it is nutritious. And it's certainly fulfilling the requirements of the Climate Pledge Arena. The Nourish market space, as I mentioned, the nourishmart.com is the Nourish market space. And I highly recommend you going on there. This is really a great opportunity for farmers to find a secondary or even tertiary market if they've already got contracted meat or grains going out to the supply chain as normal. Again, 1 + 1 = 3. The power of blockchain decentralization means that we're not pointing fingers at anything that's there currently. We're simply offering a shakeup to the system, and we're starting to look at the decentralization, meaning that it is complementary or coming alongside what's currently there, providing more resilience in the farm operations portfolio, balance sheet, and of course, market space capabilities. So the Nourishmart becomes a secondary or tertiary market for a lot of medium to large farms and or primary for smallholders. So highly encourage you to go continue to check out the Nourishmart. Grow is working globally already. So as a blockchain, really making a difference, making an impact. We're working in all these countries. On the left-hand side, we're starting to gained some inroads on the countries on the right-hand side there. We're also working in some territories, like Puerto Rico is a territory of the US that we're engaged in. And so if you know farmers or you have farmers and you're interested in how we can better support those farmers or potentially landowners that are looking to do something more sustainable, steward the land effectively, the Grow blockchain is something that I'd highly recommend you check out. Grow United, just as an SFYI, is the custodian to the Grow blockchain. The Grow blockchain is governed by the community, and they've elected us to continue to steward the blockchain in an effective way, really making sure that we make inroads and effectively continue to bring these foundational apps, as well as finding on-ramps for anyone else that wants to build on our chain, so we continue to service our mission, nourishing the world in a more effective way. One of the things I would like to tell you about Kohima. So we hear a lot about soil data, soil health, soil functionality. Somebody that's grown up in agriculture and really believes in what agriculture can do to continue to propel the world in an effective way. We all eat food. We all want to live in an environment where there's biodiversity and there's trees and there's landscapes for us to visit and explore and live in. We need to ensure that our soils continue to repair themselves, rehabilitate, and then regenerate. And they have a capability far beyond our knowledge base. And we can start tracking all that data through wonderful near to real-time sensors, through the exploration of utilization of AI for analysis. And so if you or anyone that you're thinking of is dealing with a soil-related question, soil-related project, soil-related initiative, I highly recommend, again, reaching out to the Grow blockchain. Our Kohima team is got depth and experience in how to take that data and truncate it down to manageable sizes, put it on the blockchain, and allow us to explore the deltas, the gaps, the positives, so that in a open source mind state, we can start to understand bioregionally what's happening with the soils. And so one of the powers and one of the tools that I talk to a lot of landowners, farmers, ranchers about is this ability to open source your data without losing control of your data. And so the data won't get used against the farmer. The data won't be manipulated and meant to be rewritten. So, there's less margin for the farmer. This is simply about sharing data for the sake of truly understanding what's happening at the soil roots within a bioregion. So all farmers can collaboratively talk about the issues, the things that are going well, the opportunities we have to continue to improve our ecosystems. And so thinking about decentralization, we also think about that tool of open source in a way where there's trust and transparency with the data that's being utilized. So I highly encourage anyone that's dealing with a soil-related or potentially ecosystem-related project to engage with the Grow blockchain and help us create that open source mentality, and so we can better understand what's happening in all these wonderful bioregions around the world, particularly those that are growing or raising food that we want to consume. The more we know, the better we understand, the more consumer confidence we build, and the more we make farmers and ranchers the hero of the story again. NFTs, Grow is soon going to have an NFT market, and whether it's environmental credits or NFTs attached to RWA, so real world assets, such as cows, where we have these programs that are going to be launching fairly soon. So stay tuned for that. It's a great opportunity to get involved, provide some funding for farmers and ranchers in terms of the cattle, get a digital asset. At the end of term or as a burn of the NFT, you can receive a box of meat, or you can repurpose that NFT as you continue to think about the digital play that happens with NFTs. But these are great opportunities to continue to harness some of the tool sets that come along with the Grow blockchain. We also are bringing out a learn to earn model within our blockchain. And so both for farmers, ranchers, and land stewards, they're going to start to be rewarded to take on new practices and learn about what they can do more effectively. From the consumer, you can better understand some of these applications and what the blockchain can do for you, both financially and opportunistically, in terms of how to access good quality food and continue to support those that are stewarding our lands. So be on the lookout for some of that learn to earn programming as we start launching that later this year as well. Now, as a blockchain, I would also like to say that our Grow token, we don't place much effort in talking about the growth of that token or what that can do. I highly encourage you, for those of you that are part of the Web3 space, do your homework. But we are utilizing the Grow token within our ecosystem currently. We do bridge in for those that have crypto. You can do swaps. We have our own self-custodial wallet, so you can swap in ERC20 or Bitcoin, and grab some Grow tokens, and then utilize that in the Nourish Mart if you so wish. If you are interested, I highly recommend grabbing a Grow wallet, setting it up. It's free to set up, and start exploring our self-custodial wallet and what that looks like. It's another step towards engaging with some of the wonderful farms and ranches within our ecosystem already, and food manufacturers. One of the other things that I will mention is that Grow is not a proponent of being centralized. We don't need to own everything. We do very much talk about interoperability. If there's chains out there that are doing some wonderful things in our food and supply chain, we'd love to engage with you and talk about that interchain operability. If there are chains that are adjacent to the food and agriculture but provide value in some way, we would love to talk to you, because we believe in this decentralized mindset of interchain operability. The more we start collaborating, and certainly from my perspective, a Neil perspective, I believe a lot in that network state capability. And so as we move towards this, I know there's probably some people on the line here that are involved in different chains, doing wonderful things, different projects. Let's have a chat and talk about how Grow can align or fit or complement with projects that you're working on. So the Grow blockchain, nourishing the world, people, animals, and planet more effectively by ensuring that we have more trust and transparency in the data that helps us qualify the foods that we are growing or raising on our land, and ensuring that we are truly understanding how we can move our land to more sustainable or regenerative states, so that we can continue to live in this wonderful place we call Earth. I really thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure to speak to everyone. I know I don't get to see everyone that's online watching. You can find me at neil@growunited.com, or you could go to our website and hit contact us, and somebody from our team will reach out to you. Our website is growunited.com, growunited.com, and it's neil@growunited.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neil. Yes, everyone, go visit growunited.com, and thank you so much, Neil, for that inspiring session. It's incredible, truly, to see how blockchain can play a role in regenerating our planet and supporting the farmers on ground. And for everyone, again, I think it was very insightful. Please, we have brown bag sessions on monthly basis at Blockchain Professionals. So we would really love to see you there talking about this topic one more time. If we could collaborate on anything, please use our network at Blockchain Professionals. We are 3,500 people. And again, it was a pleasure to have you here with us. Stay with us, and thank you, Neil. More powerful talks are coming up.
Hi everyone, welcome to our next session. My name is Daniel Simpson. I'm a core member of the blockchain practice at EPAM Systems and a member of the blockchain professionals community, and I'll be your moderator for this session. Hope you're enjoying some of the great talks so far today. For this session, we shift our attention to hardware for cyberpunks, where we'll explore how physical tools and devices are shaping the future of Web3 privacy and sovereignty. Before I hand over to Vadim, I'd like to remind everyone that you can leave any questions or discussion points for our speaker on the YouTube chat, and we'll get to them towards the end of the session after Vadim's presentation. If you do ask a question on our Q&A, there is some extra value in doing that on this talk today, but I'll let our speaker explain that a bit more in a second. And with that said, Vadim, I'd like to hand over to you. Maybe you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, sure. I hope we live. I unfortunately only see the screen, but anyway. Hello everyone. My name is Vadim. I'm one of the core members of Robonomics Network project, and today I will be having a speech about hardware for cyberpunks. Before we start, what Daniel mentioned is I ask you to be engaged. I will have a Q&A session for like at least 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes in the end of my presentation. And for anyone who will be asking questions or who will be engaged in the discussion, I will give away a few coupons in our online e-commerce shop to purchase one of the devices that I will be covering today. So hopefully you will join my presentation and prepare your questions. So we'll see. Before I start my main speech, before I start explaining about hardware and stuff and how we get there, I would like you to participate in a small survey prepared for everyone. So please, who is watching me now, please scan the QR code. You will be joined this online survey. And the first question is, what operating system do you use on daily basis? So I would like everyone to join the poll. Yes, great. You will see the question, you will see the options. So let's wait until some results will appear here. They will appear immediately. So you can change, of course, your answer, but think it through. Okay. It's a battle between Linux and macOS. Let's agree to have 2 minutes for the question. I will have 2 more questions, so let's not wait for long. Now Linux lost. And 1 more minute. Take your smartphones, scan QR code. Let's have some warm up. Okay, 13 participants so far. And macOS is more than a half. So I think it's 7 people uses macOS. And finish. Okay, it's understandable. It's what I usually see. So, okay, the last one. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Thank you for everyone who participated. Stay on the same page. your smartphones. And now I would like to know, do you have or did you ever have a robot vacuumer? Do you use it? I'm not going to ask you, are you satisfied with it or not? I'm just, I would like to get an idea of how many participants. Wow, so far it's everyone has a robot vacuum. No. Right after I spoke about it. For anyone who missed the first question, you can still join if you want. So don't be afraid to join in the poll. It's totally anonymous. I'm not gonna see any your names or results except of what we see on the screen. Okay, so most of the people has a robot vacuumer or ever had. It's the same 14 people. So I believe we can move on to the next. Oh no, one more. Another one. Great. I will give you 1 more minute. Okay, I think we can finish at this point. But before we move on to the last question from my poll, if anyone still wants to join, please, it's the right time to join because the last question will be the most valuable for me. So as we can see, most of the people use robot vacuumer. It's great to see. But how many subscriptions do you have? By subscription, I mean not utility bills. I mean digital services you use, like online cinemas or online banking or cloud services or anything digital, any digital product you have with a subscription. Please count it and choose your option. Okay. Okay. So far, the most interesting part is everyone has at least one subscription to any service. So there are no people with no subscription. Most of the people have 3 to 5 subscriptions so far. It's about the number I have. Maybe I have a little bit more if I count some extra duties I have. But yeah, personally, I would choose 3 to 5 myself. All right, 1 more minute, and we move to the presentation. I remember there were 16 people. Yeah, now it's 15. Come on, the last one. Is it gonna be 16? All right, we can stop. We can stop here. So far, This question, as I mentioned before, is the most valuable for me. And as I thought, most of the people have at least one subscription or a couple. In our poll, in our survey, we see 3 to 5, the most rated option, but there are no people with no subscription. So we already live in this world where subscriptions all around us. Okay, thank you everyone for participating. Before I move to the next slide, it's just a small warning. It could be shocking for someone, but if you have children or someone sensitive, please remove them from the screen for one slide, only for one slide. Okay, thank you. I'm moving on. And here we are. I expect many people are familiar with Black Mirror TV shows, right? Here I'm presenting you a picture and a frame from the very first episode of Black Mirror. It was released in 2011. It's been almost 15 years since the first episode. And for anyone who is not into Black Mirror, who doesn't know what this episode was, it's about the mayor who was threatened, his daughter was taken from him, and he was forced to do, let's say, an unpleasant thing. What you can see on the screen, he was forced to do this, but not by a threatener, but rather by a society. And it happened because in a world where we have open social medias that are not controlled by governments, you can no longer control where information goes and how it spreads. It can spread in minutes within a city, within a country, or even within the world. And that's what happened to this mayor. He maybe he underestimated the value of the social medias and the power behind it. And I must tell you that 15 years ago, when this episode was released, and Black Mirror is a sci-fi TV show, this "fi" means fiction. That means that by that time, it was rather a fictionary image rather than a reality. But now all of us understand that we live in a world where there is Twitter, there is YouTube, LinkedIn, etc. We see how politicians they share their ideas, thoughts, their decisions in social media, and it spreads really quickly. And by the power of people who sits behind those accounts, you can no longer like control where it goes, how it will happen. Now, again, since it's been 15 years, now it's not that shocking for us. But that time, by 2011, it was rather a fictionary image. Moving on to one of my favorite episode of Black Mirror. Again, it's the first episode, but from season 3. It was released 5 years later, and it's about a society where people has a social rating, and after each interaction with the people, with the cafeteria, with whatever, you can rate the people and give him 1 to 5 star. The same those people will do to you, and everybody can see the rating of the people you're interacting with. Sounds familiar, right? Again, 10 years ago, it was rather fictionary image, but now we already have some places in our world where it's a reality. And even for us who live in Europe, in USA, or other countries, we can imagine it. Let's say it's not that it still might be in near future, but we can think of social rating as being a part of our life. We even now, when we meet the people, when we meet a person, we can easily check his Twitter account. We can see how many subscribers, followers he or she has. We can go to LinkedIn and see how many other connections with people he has. So I would like the idea of showing you those episodes is to get you the idea that even now it's not the future anymore. This episode that was released 10 years ago, it's more or less becoming our reality. And moving to the next slide, I would like to speak with you. It's going to be the last one, I promise, with Black Mirror. It's the first episode of the very last season that was released earlier this year. And it's about a woman who got an implant in her brain that helped her with cognitive functions or being a normal person, basically. Because of her disease, she got replaced a part of her brain with an implant. But in order for the implant to operate properly, she must pay subscription. And the trick is, over time, she became more like a Windows Vista. She was freezing, she was sleeping a lot, and when she get to a doctor to get an explanation, all she got was, you were on a previous basic subscription plan. Now we have a subscription pro, subscription plus, or whatever. It costs more, but it's gonna provide you all functionality. You're gonna feel better. It's gonna work for you. And this might be a kind of scary situation, or it could be a funny situation and you can laugh at it right now. But I showed you two previous slides, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, now it's reality. How much time do you need it will be when this episode with the subscriptions or something that really affects us as a human beings, when it becomes a reality? Do you think it's going to be in 10 years? Maybe. In my opinion, it could become reality much sooner, like in a few years, maybe in 5 years. So I wanted to show you, to make you think of the topic that I will be explaining today, of how big corporations and how this subscription based model becomes a part of our life. And in most of the time, it's heartless. It's like you can do whatever you want. It's if you subscribed to an online cinema, let's say, and the prices went up, you can cancel the subscription. It won't affect you as a human being. But what if we will need a subscription for our eyes? What if we will have a subscription for something that we rely on? And all of us should understand that the train that we sit on goes to something, maybe something similar that was shown in this episode. So I'm not gonna like scare you. It's just the episode had, in my opinion, the right timing, be released in 2025, where everyone has subscription at least for something. But what if we continue using this model more and more? And here we are. We in Urbanomics, we don't want to fight those corporations. We don't want to like ban a subscription, but we would like to have an option for end users to be tied up to a central server, to a big corporation, or to choose a more privacy-focused way, and still using all the benefits we have in our modern world. We have modern devices, software and services, but without this mentality of having subscription for everyone. So here I will explain you briefly about what Urbanomics is. Then I will show you a few of our hardware, and I will tell you a bit about what we are going to do in the near future. So let's get started. First, Urbanomics. Urbanomics is an open source platform for IoT and smart devices. It's a decentralized platform. We started to work on Urbanomics back in 2017. It's been a long year now. And the first implementation of Robonomics was on Ethereum network. By that time, Ethereum had just launched, and we created a few smart contracts that were able to operate for robots to control the telemetry or to send commands to the robots via a blockchain. After a few years, we saw a substrate framework which was used to create Kusama and Polkadot networks. And we started investigating this product. We started investigating the tools. So then in a few years, we acquired Kusama parachain. Now it's called Rollups, but whatever. We connected to Kusama network in 2021. Then last year, we were happy to connect to Polkadot. We treat it as a Kusama in Polkadot. So Kusama is canary-based network with lower fees, with some experimental features. But in some views, it's not treated as a real network. It is, but anyway. And Polkadot is like a production release of the same functionality, more stable. I treat it like Ubuntu and Debian, who understands the reference. Since launch, it's been over 5 million transactions or extrinsics, as they're called in Polkadot ecosystem. And thanks to open source community, we can support most of the smart devices. Most of the devices could be connected to Robonomics network. One could answer, what could question me, why do we need Web3 here? What is it for? Well, the most obvious answers would be there is no single point of failure. We all know this. Even if one server goes down, there are many nodes that support the network, and you don't rely on corporate services that could be shut off immediately by a decision from somewhere. It doesn't happen in the decentralized networks. You can significantly decrease the amount of money you need to spend on a service you're building on. So if it's gonna be cloud server, you will need to do many things, and they will charge you a lot. Comparing to the distributed system, our fees are much less. And for me, as for engineer, it's always fun to connect something new to blockchain and to see how to interact it in a new way, in a new paradigm. All right. So where we are at Robonomics. If we speak about smart devices and IoT world, so smart homes or robots, whatever, I would call it like a IoT pie, which consists of 3 layers. The first one is physical, then connectivity level, and the cloud level. On the Web3 level, cloud, that's how we call Robonomics, because it's much convenient and easy to remember to call it as the cloud, because it provides the same functionality as the cloud network, but it's Web3, so it means it's distributed over the nodes. And for this part of our pie, we finished our work. The Robonomics network as a platform is launched and fully operational 24/7. Then for devices such as sensors, for low power devices that cannot easily interact with internet, they cannot send requests or transactions in the network. Usually there are some edge devices or servers, we call them connectivity servers, that gather the data from a bunch of sensors, encrypt them, and store them in the blockchain. Additionally, they can replicate this data for some other nodes, but it's meant for devices that cannot speak directly to Web3 cloud. And this layer, physical layer, is where we are now at Robonomics. So after completing 2 layers of the pie, now we are ready to design and produce our own stuff that is not tied up to big corporates, that are not tied up to central service providers, that are not linked to any cloud providers at all. And they are designed in open source and privacy in mind. So let's see what we can. Before, by the way, before we continue to the device, before we move on to the devices, I know I asked you about subscriptions, and I already said that it's not the way we would like to live in. And now you can see subscription-based blockchain usage. I will explain. There is a reason for this. There is actually a subscription, and we implemented it in our platform, but it's based on a blockchain. So since we're on a blockchain conference, everyone understands that to send a transaction, you must pay some transaction fee. Usually you pay it in the native tokens, but there are some options. We went further and we decided, okay, for our users who happily will come from some big cloud providers, they're used to subscription-based model, right? They usually link a card and is charged automatically every month. In the blockchain world, you must maintain your balance on your own because you pay fee every time you send a transaction. But what if we can create some kind of a token that could give you a month of free transactions without any fees in the blockchain? You can store any telemetry, you can send commands, you can create a digital twin there, but without paying fee for every single transaction. That's what we implemented in our platform, and we call it Robonomics Web Services. So there is a token, a subscription token, which allows you to send transactions without any fees. Later, maybe after the conference, if anyone is interested, I can show you some accounts that has zero token balance, but thousands or hundreds of transactions, and it happened because we implemented this this feature. So in terms of functionality, it's pretty basic. So you can store any data there. You can encrypt the data, or you can store it as plain text. You can store the IPFS hash or whatever you want. You can create some kind of event, a launch command that we called. It's meant for launching some service in the real world. For example, to turn something on and off, or to give some commands to your robot, or to put your lights on, whatever you want. And you can create a digital shadow, digital twin in the blockchain, in the structure where you can store different, let's say, leaves of your tree of a real physical system. That's the basic functionality that Robonomics provides. Now, moving to the hardware cyberpunks for the hardware that we produced, we designed. Before I explain about the devices, there might be a question why it happened now. Why in 2025, only in 2025, you speak about hardware and producing the hardware? Could it be done earlier? Could it be done like 10 years ago? No. I mean, there are a lot of people who could DIY its own device. They could, I don't know, solder it, prepare it, even create a pack or whatever. But one thing that was really challenging at the time was to provide a service, to provide an application or a website where a user can interact with the device, right? So for this, you usually need a cloud server. You need to create a database for your users. You need to secure it, to protect it, to create access control list, to think about encryption and any other stuff. It's a lot of stuff for one person. It could be done. It's possible, but it's much harder comparing to what we offer. And in our case, Robonomics itself is already it's already cloud for any of your devices. And that's what we thought. So we started to produce devices our own, but anyone is welcome to try it out. And Robonomics itself provides an ecosystem where every device speaks the same language, right? This was another challenge for most of the DIY projects, that you need not only to provide an application or a way to interact with the device. If you create another device, you will face another problem that you want to merge them. You want to get data from one device to another. You need to implement this logic. It's challenging. In case of Robonomics, every device can have its own address where you can send a launch, a unified launch command to pass some parameters for the device, or you can get telemetry from any device. If you think about security, and you can create an account, or users can create accounts for themselves and provide a public key for encryption, for data encryption, for telemetry encryption. So the first device that we produced was outdoor sensor. We call it Altruist. It's basically an air quality sensor which measures particles in the air, temperature, humidity, noise level, and it could be extended by I2C protocol with some number of sensors, of additional sensors. The idea behind the sensor is it's not a professional unit that can tell you whether your environment is good or not. But if we have a few of these devices within a few blocks or within a city, then you can see the average measurements between all the sensors and tell, even if one sensor is broken or it sends wrong data, you can look at other 10 sensors and tell the truth, right? So this is why we call it altruist, because you can share this data for yourself, for everyone else, and comparing all the data, you can get the big picture. It connects, it's a ESP-based sensor. It connects to internet directly via Wi-Fi, and this sensor can operate autonomously, so you can use it locally. You can cut off the sending data to Robonomics or to any internet, in clouds, and you can use it locally. Or if you want, you can forward data from the sensor to your server. Speaking about servers, it's a home server with Web3 Cloud. It's a single board computer, but with RISC-V architecture of central unit. RISC-V is the only architecture of CPU that is open sourced. It's open for everyone to use it, to modify it, to produce it without any loyalties. So we thought, if we have an open source cloud, open source connectivity, we have most of the devices with open source design of circuit board. It should work on something, and it should work on the open source CPU architecture as well. Thankfully, there is RISC-V architecture, so we took one of the single board computers and prepared all the necessary software to make it as the smart home server, or to make it for whatever purpose you want to use the server. And there is our toy Hikikomori, and there is a energy monitor device. Those devices, the energy monitor checks how much electricity you have, and it already and it can send data to Robonomics or to home server to track the electricity. For example, in the place where I live, electricity is really expensive, so I should keep it in mind. I check electricity regularly. Speaking about our coupons and discounts, those devices, they're already presented as the development kits in our online shop. We will stay for a Q&A session after my speech, and for those who will ask me questions, who will be engaged in the discussion, I will provide coupons for a discount up to 50%, and we will ship it to you. We can ship worldwide. So we will prepare one of our devices that you choose and ship it to you. So get engaged. We will see you in the chats. When we were thinking about where to start with the hardware, the most logical answer would be home, smart home devices, because home is the place where you would like to be not tracked, let's say. It's the most sensitive place. It's the place where you spend time alone or with your loved ones. So nobody likes when someone is looking for you, like when you don't expect it, right? So the home is where privacy matters more. And from here, let me introduce myself one more time. I'm Vadim, and I'm founder of a Pinout Limited company, which is a commercial company. It's operating on Cyprus, Europe, and we are happy to create a smart home solution for you, for your needs, with privacy in mind, with a local home server. We work with wireless IoT devices, wireless in terms of connectivity to server. So there is no need to provide additional signal wiring for every device, for every switch and every relay. You can replace your traditional, let's say, dumb devices, dumb thermostats or regular switches with smart switches connected to the server, to the local server, which could be fully local, or you can create a proxy to reach it remotely. And we will be happy to provide you instructions or advise you how to get it done, which devices would work for your case best. So this is my company, and I will be happy to answer any questions if you're in the process of creating your own smart home solution or your DIY and it's your pet project or whatever. Feel free to ask me questions about it. I will be happy to answer them. How to reach me out? There is my Telegram nickname, and below there is my email. Feel free to reach me out, and that's it I want to share with you today. So I think let's get to the Q&A session.
Thanks, Vadim. So we've got a couple of questions from our audience. First one from Yevgeny. Can we get Yevgeny's question up on screen at all? I'll just read it out, and then we might see it appear on the screen in a second. So Yevgeny says, just curious, how anonymous are such devices? How do we make sure that the data is not exposed for any malicious use?
Okay, if I get it correctly, in terms of autonomous, it's meant there is no a server or a service provider that if we turn it off, the device will turn off or will not produce any work for you. So our devices are meant to work locally first, and then there is, if you provide the Wi-Fi access, it will send data to Proponomics network or to a server you want. But first, it's fully local. In terms of how we can check the data, again, there is a rule that if it's open source, the more eyes can see it, the faster the bugs are coming out. It's a quote from Linus Torvalds. But in our case, I cannot just prove you by any certificates or by something from law or anything. But it's designed in open source and privacy in mind, so you can check the firmware we used on the devices. We usually don't create our own firmwares. We usually rely on ESP Home or Tasmota firmwares for the devices that are maintained and contributed by many people, and many people use those firmwares, so we rely on that experience. And Urbanomics itself is fully autonomous and distributed network, which is also open source. You can check it out as well. I hope that answers the question.
That's great. We also have a question from Alexei Koryapov. Yeah, could you please share some real usage examples of it? I think he means the Robonomics server. Can it replace the Home Assistant server?
So, real use cases of Robonomics, did I get it correctly?
I believe so, yes, yes.
Okay, if we speak about real use cases of Robonomics, as I mentioned before, I'm an engineer, and my company that provides smart home solutions. One way to see Robonomics in action is to provide an access control list who is able to enter your smart home. So we have an integration for smart homes, and it's installed on Home Assistant software as a module, as an integration that looks in the blockchain and get the list of addresses who is able to enter your home. So it creates locally users for every entry of this ACL, and you can create you can just ask guests or users to provide you a public address of the account. Then you put this account in the ACL in the Robonomics integration on the smart home part. Integration will get the list, will create users for every entry, and the user will be able to create a passport for himself. Then, when the user enters your home, it will put its address and the password he or she generated and enter the home screen of the Home Assistant. So this is one example. Another example is with Altruist. We store telemetry from Altruist in the blockchain, and there is a map that checks all the entries of Altruist in the blockchain, in the Robonomics network, gets this data and shows it on the map. It's usually, it has geolocation and all the measurements. So the map takes this data and creates a map with the centers. So this is a way of like they're touching the server part, a backend part from front end. Front end is you can launch it on your own sensor map, and it still gets data from the Robonomics network itself.
Okay, great. Okay, we got a few more. One from Alexei. Sorry, we've just had Alexei. One from Sergey, if I got your name correct. Why did you choose Polkadot? So talking specifically about blockchain choice now, and could your solution be expanded to other blockchains?
Great question, thank you. By the time when we started investigating other solutions, we started actually, let's say, I will start from Ethereum. So Ethereum, by the time of 2016, 2017, were really great. It was the first real blockchain that were able to provide you additional functionality other than just sending tokens back and forth. It was great. Smart contracts did some revolution in the blockchain, but it was obvious that with such slow computer, which Ethereum is, with such expensive transactions that we have in Ethereum, it's not possible to create any use story around IoT. we could do some stories about robots or big factories or something big that doesn't require a lot of transactions happening every minute or every second. And then in 2019, we saw Polkadot creating its own network, but with a shared functionality between other networks. So Polkadot presented an architecture where there is a circle in the middle, which is Polkadot Kusama, and there are many projects around it, which all of them are secured by Polkadot, but they can exchange messages between one another, and you can create your own logic in only that logic and store it in your rollup or parachain as it was before. So even now, if we look at the Ethereum, on last DevCon conference, they proposed to create a layer for merging all of those L2 solutions. Polkadot already has it. It was from the beginning by design in 2020 when it just launched. Now, after 5 years, we see that Ethereum proposing the same. Yes, you could say, there are other options, but Polkadot, from technical perspective side, Polkadot is the most advanced and operating right now network, in our opinion. That's why we chose Polkadot.
Oh, great. Am I right in saying that Polkadot, you need to is it renting like a parachain? Is that the right?
It is, yes, it is correct. That there is, I will quickly show. Yes, on that side, there is Kusama and there is Polkadot. We launched on Kusama in 2021 and on Polkadot a few years later. It's because they implemented an auctions for slots. So you can imagine parachains as an additional L2 solutions. It's not really the right way to call it, but let's keep it for simplicity. So you can imagine a few projects that implement their own logic, small logic, just a few functions. Let's say as the ergonomics, we have a few functions, and they don't think about any other stuff, how to transfer tokens, how to exchange messages, etc. And to become a part of this family, you need to acquire a slot. And for this slot, you need to win an auction. For this, you need to hold some amount of Kusama or DOT tokens to be held for your slot. And the price of how many tokens you need to in order to acquire the slot, it's determined by the people in an auction. In an auction, who proposes more wins the slot. Over time, the prices for the slot, they went down and it became much more affordable than it was at the beginning. So yes, you're right. You need to acquire a slot, computing power, in order to operate and be secured by Polkadot and in order to operate with other parachains.
Sure. Okay, we've got another question from Sasha Pitkevich. Can your devices be used in LARP, LARP, or any other sort of real-life gamification? And any examples?
I'm sorry, I didn't get NRIP. Can you repeat maybe?
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with LARP. Maybe someone can.
Can I stop the
comment?
Device using LARP. What is Leaf action role playing game? I see. I'm sorry, I cannot answer the question at the moment because I didn't understand it. Maybe please reach me in the Telegram or via email. I will get the full answer there.
Yeah. Okay. We'll perhaps maybe we can address that one offline.
So games in real life. Okay, I will try to answer the question. So we were thinking of the general answer would be yes, but how to implement it, it's up to you. We didn't provide any gamifications so far. We were thinking, speaking about altruist, for example, we were thinking about additional engagement of people to make them share the data or to make them connect more sensors in different places and locations. But at the moment, we decided not to do it and just to test our abilities to create a device itself. So at the moment, there is no such case, but it can be done.
Yeah, so I guess the focus at the moment is much more kind of personal use of these devices, right? By the sounds of things, is that fair to say? Rather than connecting them more widely on a network.
Sorry, can you repeat?
So I just wanted to kind of gauge that. So the devices that you're talking about that you're creating now are kind of, they're sort of more personal for personal use, right?
Yes, they're more for
rather than a sort of connected use, at least in this stage of things.
You're more about right. Yes, in terms of connection devices itself between each other, we provide a home server which can connect all the devices, and you can create automations or schedules or trigger one device by another on the server side.
Okay, for sure. Okay, I think we've got one more from Alexei. He says the main problem, first of all, he starts with a comment. He says the main problem is integration with sensors and controllers for smart homes. The leader is Tuya, Tuya, with its not open source protocol. Yeah. And other brands. Are your server or is your server able to work with popular brands?
Okay, Alexei. Yes, the reality is there is Tuya and there is Xiaomi / Akara and such brands. There is Sanov presented in Europe mostly, and there are many others. All of them, they share the same idea of connecting your devices to a server, which can be located somewhere, and to interact with your devices only via internet. We try to avoid such devices. That's why we mostly use ZigBee devices. They are local by design. They don't have an access to internet. Only a ZigBee hub or a central server can go online. The ZigBee devices cannot go online, so we prefer to use DigiBee devices. But if you have a device from Tuya which you really like, in most of the cases, not all of them, but in most of the cases, you can flash another software, which could be Tasmota, for example. It's unfortunately there is no Type-C on those devices. You cannot do it easily, but with some experience and with some soldering, you can attach a USB device and flash your own software. It's possible. We did hack some devices. It's fun, but you cannot do it on like daily basis. It's easy to produce an open source device from scratch.
Yeah, for sure.
But generally speaking, you still can connect to the server such devices that work only via internet. You can still provide. There are many integrations. Again, thanks to the community, there are many integrations for Tuya, for Xiaomi devices, and you can provide them your login and password, and they will work mostly the same as they would work just with your application. There are not a lot of benefits of it, except of you don't have to have a lot of applications for every other devices. So you can have only one application and control from the application all of the devices you have.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, I think we've probably run out of time for Q&A now. It looks like it might be time to select our coupon winners. Vadim, how many people can we? How many winners can we have?
There go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people. Am I right? 5 people asked the question. I would like everyone who asked me a question to send me an email or to ping me in Telegram. I will give everyone a coupon for discount for a device.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, so you heard it, guys. Anyone that's asked a question today, please ping Vadim. Do we have your contact details on the chat, Vadim? Would you be able to just post something for everyone to use? Either perhaps an email or
can you see the screen? This is my Telegram nickname and this is my email.
Okay. There we go. Perhaps we can just guys type that into chat as well. Okay, good stuff. Thank you very much, Vadim. It was a very insightful talk today, and I personally feel that it's not going to be too long before we're going to see a lot of IoT devices around our homes, around our streets, and hopefully they're going to be integrated in a very decentralized way and not be too much in the hands of centralized controllers, shall we say. So on behalf of blockchain professionals, I'd like to thank you today. It was a great talk. I'd love to be back on at some point for a brown bag session or another conference. To everyone listening, thanks for attending. Thanks for your questions. Please stay tuned for our next session coming up in a couple of minutes, which is Sasha Pitkevich, talking about how blockchain meets AI. Thanks, everybody.
All right, and welcome back, everyone. I'm here again, and I'm especially excited about this one. We're joined by Sasha Pitkevich, the founder of Blockchain Professionals Community, and someone who's been at the heart of building this space from the day one. Sasha will explore what happens when two of the most disruptive technologies collide, the blockchain and AI.
Hi guys, I hope you can hear me, and thanks Farouk for such an impressive introduction. I must see that not from a day one, but probably from a year one, but definitely not from the first day. But yes, I'm Sasha Pitkevich, and I'm the proud leader of Blockchain Professionals Community, and I'm also leading blockchain practice at EPAM, and frequently speaking about the advanced technology and what will happen next, or when, like, mostly my pitches are about not what will come, but what is already there. That's not everybody is aware about this. And Farouk is helping me of advancing through my slides. So basically, about a year ago, slightly more, I was speaking on about AI and blockchain on the Build Staff Development Conference. And there I was worried about the impact of the rapid development of the large language models, which causes to Web3 paradigm. Observing the age of the change, I was speaking about the complexities of tracing the content ownership for the data processing being used as a source for the LLM data lakes. And the time has passed. And now I'm very happy to witness the concept evolution uh, uh, and how it's going right now, despite the fact that technically it's still troublesome to trace the origins of the data used as an original source of the LLM answers. I'm glad to see how the both technologies are evolving together. On these rather short presentations, I will give you some outlook based on the real solutions and practical examples. I'm doing it because I again see a lot of benefits which decentralization can bring to us. I frequently said that the blockchain technology as a concept of decentralization is perfectly applicable to almost all sides of our life and to any industry. Combining decentralization with AI is considered a transformative shift because it fundamentally changes how technology is deployed. It's making systems more secure, efficient, transparent, and privacy preserving. The combination amplifies the strengths of both technologies, enabling new paradigms in data sharing, governance, and autonomy across industries. And the key reasons of that is the centralization keeps data distributed and under user control, where AI can analyze data locally or in a federated way without exposing raw data, thus preserving privacy and complying with regulations like HIPAA in healthcare. And techniques like zero knowledge proofs and federated learning enable privacy first identity verification and data sharing. Blockchain's immutable ledger ensures that AI model development and decisions are transparent and auditable, reducing opacity and centralization like traditionally associated with AI. This fosters trust in AI-driven applications. Decentralized AI challenges traditional governance, requiring new protocol-based frameworks that integrate technological safeguards and decentralized consensus, fostering a human coexistence between people and machine. And also, decentralized AI frameworks incentivize contributions of data and computing resources through token rewards, democratizing AI development and reducing monopolization of AI capabilities. And the synergy opens transformative applications in financial area, in supply chain, healthcare, and beyond by combining AI's analytic power with blockchain, secure and transparent infrastructure. That's the answers. Like, I mean, for many years, I've been asked about the fintech companies and the hedge funds. Can you predict the behavior? Can you predict the winning trading behavior? And now we have an answer to that. Now we have a possibilities to build that easily instead of avoiding the major investments in all those crowders and so on. and also autonomous and adaptive systems. AI-driven automation can optimize decentralized governance models such as DAOs, enabling self-optimizing adaptive and autonomous systems which operates without centralized oversight. The same which I frequently was speaking about the autonomization of all the basic human services while provisioning the society, library, transportation, food delivery services on a lowest possible price. Because the blockchain brings the infrastructure and automation of the managerial decisions, and AI brings intelligence to that. In essence, this fusion ushers a new era where AI systems are not only smarter, but also fairer, more inclusive, and resilient, overcoming the limitations of centralized AI and blockchain alone. It reshapes how intelligence is developed, shared, and deployed, promising a more equitable technology landscape. Let's see where we expect the biggest impact. Certainly for financial services and fintech. It helps us to predict the market sentiments and price movements for trading strategies using on-chain data. It analyzes DeFi fee structures dynamically to optimize transaction cost and liquidity provider gains. It detects and predicts malicious addresses to it enhances security and fraud preventions. And that fosters risk management and insider trading detection in decentralized finance. Also, other enterprises can use AI-powered graph models to analyze transactional and social blockchain data for insights. It helps to build personalized recommendation systems like what that's already available as traditional Web2 solutions, but it can significantly be increased of gathering data in between businesses or gathering the data in between competitors in the same industry area. And it really enhances the business intelligence and can help predicting on-chain events. And yeah, I mean, in crypto space, that's a token sales, launches, and airdrops. But the same is available in a traditional industry landscape. And certainly for the public crypto gang and for the public crypto projects, it brings the possibility to develop decentralized AI models to improve security, DeFi protocols, and user engagements. It allows traditional crypto market to participate in a decentralized model factory to create, share, and monetize AI models, tailor it to the blockchain specific. And that leverages decentralized infrastructure to build AI agents that operate autonomously and securely on blockchain networks. So we can see that the technology combination looks pretty attractive. Does the market notice that? I think it does. We can already see quite some of the blockchain solutions specifically targeting AI and large language models on Scape. We can see the centralized AI model marketplaces and platforms which are enabling model sharing, training, and monetization on blockchain, ensuring transparency and data integrity for AI workflows. We can see autonomous AI agents operating on blockchain to execute tasks like trading, logistics, and payments securely and transparently, leveraging smart contracts for automation and trust. We know solutions combining AI and analytics with blockchain's immutable ledger to enhance fraud detection, predictive analytics, and smart contracts automation across industries. And there are some layer 2 blockchains focusing on scaling AI workloads and enabling cross-chain data flows for AI applications, improving scalability and efficiency. Blockchain projects that tokenize data sets of AI models, enabling decentralized ownership, licensing, and incentivization of AI data contributors and developers. And certainly AI-driven DeFi and NFT platforms, where the usage of AI optimizes DeFi strategies or generates dynamic NFTs with AI-generated content, enhancing AI role on the digital assets. These trends reflect the growing convergence of AI and blockchain, aiming to create scalable, secure, and decentralized AI ecosystem with transparent data provenance, efficient computation, and novel economic models. These projects, and I hope that Farouk is helping me to show you the perfect slide, because Farouk, yes, those projects are the real projects which exist, which live, and which you can already use. And I'm going to tell you deeper about the crypto pond, but there are more applications. And the pond is like the pioneering decentralized AI model layer, which is specifically designed for crypto and blockchain applications. I'm going to spend the rest of the presentation going through that and explaining your architecture and how you can use it efficiently. But there are more applications, and please do not invest some time to explore that, because that's the ongoing ecosystem. As I usually tell in my presentations, guys, it's not happening tomorrow. That's already today. And the CryptoPond, or its brand name is just Pond to say that faster. It leverages on-chain data with advanced graph-neutral networks, GNN, to analyze and predict complex blockchain behaviors. For the ordinary users, it's a website and ecosystem built on top of OG network, which is level 1 EVM-based public permissionless network. And the network is designed with a modular and a layered architecture to provide a scalable and secure data availability layer for your applications. So that's the level 1 EVM network, which is optimized by its architecture structure to store large pieces of the data, to store and access data. It has native tokens live. It has native token that's not very expensive now. And the token is used that's a traditional native token, which is used as a gas for the transaction fees. It's also used to reward node operators for maintaining and securing the network. And on top of that, it's used for staking and delegation to validator nodes to secure the network. And it's also used as a governance token. And the key architecture components of the OG network. And basically, I need to tell you about the network so you understand the capabilities of the solution, because the pond is built on top of the network. It's basically the interfaces of Web3 applications. So let's look quickly on the network itself and then see what developers can do in terms of the modeling and what services and what future pond offers us, because it's a really good example of how you can today leverage of the decentralized data lake, decentralized data processing for AI models, and how you can create models already gathering the investment for your models based on the data you upload. You can also use somebody else's data, and basically this is just true and complete ecosystem, and it's just starting. There is a reputation base, and let's go step by step in the details. So key architectural components of the OG network. First of all, it has modular design, and that separates execution, consensus, and data availability layers to enhance scalability and efficiency, basically to reach the desired performance. It has dual lane architecture, employs it for separate data storage and publishing process, because we always need that when we are speaking about the huge chunks of data. It uses intelligent data sharding for near instant access to the large amounts of data, and proof of random access for decentralized insensitive. It uses a committee-based model with verifiable random functions, VRFs, for efficient data availability verification, and GPU-accelerated erasure coding for enhanced storage efficiency and data security. For non-professionals, it allows you to get access to the data quickly, and it also allows you to efficiently maintain the big chunks of the data, also to protect them from being incomplete. So this erasure coding That's because the data is fragmented in the smaller pieces, very redundant elements, and distributed across multiple storage locations for fast recovery in case of the node failures. Basically, when we have a network and when the data is gathered across the network, when some parts of the network became unavailable, how about the whole data accessibility? Basically, the OG network is optimized for that. It also uses a Merkle tree, which is formed with the data and submitted to OG's consensus layer to cryptographically record the order of the data entering the system, because it's not always the big chunk of data is important. It's also important while we're speaking about versions of the data and data updates, because I'm going to speak today about the real-time on-chain data access, which means that the data in, for example, Ethereum and the blockchain networks is updating, rapidly updating. And we need somehow to transport the data for the analysis of our models. And for that, we are building Bridge, which is allowing us this data transportation. And without the support in your G network, it won't be possible to align the pieces of the data by time. And also that's, I already said, that's fully EVM compatible, which means that the Solidity is your programming language, which means that you can use the benefits on all the APIs. And basically that's a known technology. It's not something totally new where you need to prepare all your development workforce. This also has that leverages the Ethereum eigenlayer for staking mechanisms. I already told you that you can use staking, but that's the Ethereum staking, and that's allowing you to share security and improved economics incentives for validators. And for those who wants to look deeper in the mechanics of the OG network, and also for the business of that, because that's the public network, which means that it's a real economy, real token prices, it's the services connected to the paying for the services. Basically, you can find the link on a slide, and you can also go to the Home OG website and to see the development information there. And yes, I'm not affiliated with that. I'm just, well, we started to use that, and we started to see how it can bring values to our customers in various industries. And that looks very promising. And we also started to build a reputation of our developers in this network. But I'm going back to the consumer side of the solution. So CryptoPond XYZ, which is branded as a pond, is a decentralized AI model layer specifically designed for the crypto ecosystem. And it offers AI models specifically designed for crypto use cases, such as security. You can find quite some of the models which are detecting and predicting malicious addresses and behaviors on chain. And also provides some models for recommendations, suggesting NFTs, tokens, and DeFi protocols based on a user on chain activity. That's what was always questioned by the TradeFi, by the fintech applications of finding the winning strategies, finding the winning investment strategies. You can see quite some models already on CryptoPond available. And that also you can see there the dynamic fee modeling applications where the risk management, insider trading detection, and other financial optimizations are available. And there are already comparisons and there are already demonstrations of quite high quality of those model predictions. And by transforming complex blockchain data into comprehensive and comprehensible information, Pond help users to make informed decisions. And you can basically to attach those models and the results of their work to your solutions. And you can integrate them. And the users of the CryptoPond and also developers can participate in building and also owning AI models there, like collaborating with others, which means that you can shape the model creation as a collaboration activity and also as a competitive activity. I will explain you how to do that a little bit later. And it also provides you the ecosystem of the solutions. The platform integrates data, model computation, training, and inference, supporting a wide range of the blockchain sectors, including DeFi, social networks, trading, and miner extractable value. There's already data and structural data there, which means that you can just come and start building the models, or you can use the existing models and to improve them, or you can combine them together. And the platform also like speaks about a planned feature to enhance community engagement and growth by referrals, sharing features, and also reputational institutions. And we actually participate in there and building some models, thinking that later on we will gain a good reputation there and provide the services like this. For service provisioning companies, it's also a possibility. So in summary, CryptoPond empowers users and developers to harness on-chain data through advanced AI models for securing, trading, DeFi, and recommendation systems in the crypto space. And its architecture integrates several key components. It has data infrastructure, and basically all the parties upload the data together, and you can use the data. You're using the big blobs of the data and transforming that into the structures which is consumable for the model creation. And that provides you the graph neutral networks and the deep learning algorithms. And that uses like basically it gives you SDK, API, and services which can manipulate the data there. And also the system provides you the model development ecosystem. It supports the entire AI model lifecycle from data ingestion, model training, computation, inference, and deployment. And that's facilitated by distributed deep learning frameworks like PyTorch and TensorFlow, and the container orchestration tools like the traditional Docker and Kubernetes. Pond fosters a community-driven environment where developers can build, manage, and monetize AI models tailored to blockchain use cases. The platform applies model compression, inference acceleration, and stream batch data processing techniques to optimize AI workload on cloud infrastructure. So it also may become a little bit cheaper. And a wide variety of data in platform decentralized storage system is managed by storage nodes, a network of the storage nodes. And the data, which I already said, is ensure coded and distributed across multiple nodes to ensure fast recovery and high availability. And here are the types of the data available in a G network. It's a large-scale blockchain state data for layer 1 and layer 2 networks, which is logical. But it also has already rollup data for rollup as a service providers. It has DeFi-related data, such as order books for high-frequency trading. It has on-chain gaming data because there are already gaming providers who uses that. And it has cross-chain state migration data to facilitate secure bridging between networks. So all these types of the data already available, or the more platforms being used, more data is becoming available for all of us to build the models. It looks very promising. And the system supports both unstructured data archived in an append-only log and structured data managed via key value layers, making it suitable for diverse blockchain and AI data availability scenarios. The data is available in near real time with fast retrieval enabled by the data publishing lane, which efficiently confirms data availability with minimal consensus overhead. In summary, we have secure and a fast decentralized storage and availability for a broad spectrum of blockchain and AI-related data supporting advanced user cases. If you are building a model based on a certain data availability on the OG network, you will need to upload your data, unless it's already existing there, to the OG storage system first. The OG network's architecture separates data storage and data availability. You upload your data, files, data sheets to the storage, where that it's erasure coded, split into chunks, and distributed across multiple decentralized storage nodes for redundancy and fast retrieval. Then, OG data availability layer built on top of the storage confirms that the data is reliably stored and available via consensus among storage nodes. And once uploaded and confirmed, your data is accessible for AI model training, inference, or other applications via OG's APIs and SDKs. That means your model's input data must be uploaded to the OG network to leverage its decentralized storage and availability guarantees before your model can use it for training or inference. Additionally, OG provides developer tools and starter kits to facilitate file upload and download, including fee calculations and wallet integrations, making it straightforward to interact with the storage system programmatically. Means that you can integrate to that. You can use your parts of your solution, and to integrate to the data layer. And to ensure your data is a real-time representation on chain, you need to implement a continuous data ingestion and update pipeline. And you must connect to blockchain nodes, like, for example, Ethereum and Bitcoin full nodes, or reliable on-chain data providers that offers WebSocket or streaming APIs to receive new blocks and transactions as they happen. This enables you to capture the latest state changes immediately. Incoming raw blockchain data should be processed, cleaned, and structured into the format your model requires, often involving extract, transform, load pipelines. After processing, the updated dataset must be regularly uploaded to the OG network decentralized storage to keep your data availability layer current. This can be automated with scripts or services that push incremental updates. OG data availability layer uses randomly selected nodes and consensus to confirm data existence and integrity, ensuring your stored data is reliably accessible. So basically, you are building the bridge or the pipeline, uploading unit data. Also, if we are speaking about already existing data sets for the solution, we can already have data sets were reasonably fresh, I would say, data sets for the layer 1 and the layer 2 blockchains, including Ethereum, Polygon, and partners with networks like Arbitrum, Optimism, and Fuel. There's also Solana data there. Well, for the sake of time, you can check. But it all looks promising, and for the initial algorithm training, that's already enough. And the development process of the solution published on Pond involves several structured steps within their decentralized AI model ecosystem. Basically, it's designed to monetize models. First, you will need to propose ideas, and developers or users start by creating ideas tailored to blockchain use cases and basically publishing that on a system. And then each idea is tokenized into idea tokens that represent ownership and incentivization for collaborators and supporters. Basically, we are gaining money for the idea. Okay, we're creating tokens, and these tokens are traded on external marketplaces, allowing the community to support promising concepts and provide liquidity. And once an idea gains enough community backing, which is token threshold, it qualifies for further development stages. And Pond organizes competitions where developers build and refine AI models based on selected ideas, encouraging innovation and quality improvements. So you have an idea, you create a token, you trade the token, then you were gaining, like, well, you're looking who is interested of having your token or supporting your idea, and then you can have a development competition, and then you will need to transition winning ideas into the complete models. The best performing models, you're selecting the best performing models from the competition. They are finalized and integrated in the Pond platform, where they are available for the use and for the monetization. And you can utilize Point infrastructure for inferencing, for the data management, and also for commercialization. And completed models leverage Pond's decentralized infrastructure, including real-time on-chain data access via OG partnership. And model inferencing capabilities and commercialization tools to deploy AI applications into the crypto ecosystem. Basically, there are already enough support to publish your solutions and your models to get the money. And what the whole process is supported for by the model factory and a point system, which preserves model ownership for creators. So basically, it allows you to monetize the models. It allows you to stamp that the model is yours, and it allows you to get rewards by the model use when the model is being used. And for detailed tutorials and updates on proposing ideas, you can go to the Pond and look at that. And now I'm trying to summarize the whole story, because, well, I went for only one application which offers you the upload of the data, decentralized storage of this data, and the processing of this data to feed the models, and also decentralized concurrent creation of the models and the model monetization. And basically, for the nature of use, currently the Pond is used for the blockchain data, because the data is already available and the data streams are already available, and for the gaming industry. But nothing prevents you to upload their different data. And the most promising for us, and like, we were personally very interested in gaining insights on AI-based development, on AI-based solution development, means any solutions. And in the Pond, there is an ongoing and ending in June competition, which created by Vitalik Buterin, which traces the source code on GitHub, basically to analyze and to create the models of the fair funding. And Vitalik is planning to use that for the Ethereum ecosystem. But the same way it can use to the any data structure. Okay, currently those models are using the data structure of the Ethereum recognized projects. But you can do that with your software house based on your code. Or you can basically provide the different data structure, different code bases, and or your GitLab, your corporate GitLab or something, to understand the involvement of your developers. So, which means that it's not only for the trading sites, but also for the industry data is purely applicable. So, I need to summarize the story. AI and blockchain goes hand by hand in the technology evolution. Blockchain brings instant value transfer, traceability, auditability, and makes governments programmable. And AI spices it up with the database intelligence. And vice versa. For all AI solutions, blockchain decentralizes the data ownership and a model storage and creation. So we can enjoy the benefits of both technologies combined. I hope I made you interested enough in this wonderful combination to look to the provisioned solutions and to think constructively of those combinations. And Farooq, do we have any questions here?
Okay, let's take a look.
Well, I see a question from Daniel, and I must say, yes, that's the answer for all those funds who are saying that create us the crawler on Ethereum blockchain, and we will apply the logic and to either mimic of the guru traders, either follow certain logic. Currently, data is already available. Moreover, the infrastructure to build models is available, and the infrastructure to monetize those models is available. Anyone capable of building models can come to the pond and try to build heuristics on on-chain data. That's well, there are already some of them, and you can look what is existing there. But if you think that you know the science and you know the how, you can build your own model. And well, it's cheap. That's why you can use that on a test net using the faucets, and even the production versions of the monetized models are relatively cheap. And basically, well, the version of yesterday or the month ago data, like for the whole Ethereum of a Bitcoin, is laying there. You can go and build the models today.
All right, we ran out of the questions and the time. Thank you, Sasha, for a fantastic session, and especially for breaking down the use of OG in such a clear and practical way for us. It's really amazing to hear and to see how AI and blockchain are coming together to shape new systems.
Guys, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to type. You have all the contact information, and basically that's our conference. You can also type that here in the YouTube channel. We will see the questions and answer them later. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye all. All right, we've got the speaker joining right from Bogota. We often talk about how blockchain can change the world, but in Latin America, it's already happening on the ground. Please welcome Sebastian Melo, a developer and passionate community builder from Bogota, who is here to talk about the power of grassroots Web3 movements across the region. Okay, hi Sebastian, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Sebastian Melo, developer and enthusiastic of technology. Blockchain and emerging technologies, the power of communities, ambassador Vara Network. We are community scale. Communities drive adoption, educate, and foster collaboration in the Web3 ecosystem. Communities share Bogota, Colombia, and Latin America, and the world. And Celo, Crypto Latin Fest, Eat Bogota, Option, Hive, Algorand, and others. Who I am, enthusiastic, passionate, dedicated, curious, autonomous, and the technology, and a passionate of all and computers and video games and gig life. And share my path in technology started being curious about the internet, thanks to my mother for allowing me to do it. Coming through the Web 2 to Web 3. I have always talked about technology, strange empathy, curiosity, and action. Benefits of Web3 communities: support network, share resource, quality innovation, knowledge sharing, governance participation, and empathy, and share my curious with others and friends. Thank Ethereum Bogota, community in Bogota, Her Vegan, my path in Web3 with Ethereum Bogota, with thanks to workshops and my self-lab study and Platzi Academy. I learned the topic of smart contracts and the topics of Web3 and Pizza Day with leader Ethereum Bogota, Juan David, with Learning Path, Ethereum Latam Bogota. I participate with Ecosystem the World and share my conocimiento and friends and ecosystem with Web3. And Polygon share community. I have always talked about and Polygon workshops and persons with connection and I share participation in DevCon with Bogotá in year 2022. Al power now with Benevechine Innovation Meetup in Spanish and Colombian here and Benevechine with Web3 Now, here in the water road, in the World POAP, Bitcoin Conference in la Bitcoin in Salvador, Bitcoin Week. And here, and go to canal the Bitcoin world. And the world of Satoshi Nakamoto. Here, aquí, here conocí a Vitalik Buterin en Bogotá, Colombia, en Isla Tam, donde pude conocer todo su ecosistema, todo su aporte a Ethereum y a la nueva Internet 3.0. Here, Community Chain Safe and Video Games, donde también participamos, aprendimos de contratos inteligentes, videojuegos y sinergia. Gracias a ello hemos podido construir proyectos basados en esto en América Latina for the world. Think Blockchain Summit Latam, varias comunidades in the world, en el mundo. Nos congregamos en Bogotá, Colombia, conectando las nuevas tecnologías blockchain, donde nos asociamos, donde podemos conocer diferentes comunidades, diferentes blockchains, ecosystem, friends, partnerships, así por construir proyectos, startups, hackathons, dApps, Web3 in Latin America. Here, Community Hive connect to what matters, Web3 and social media. Here, aquí también tenemos Hive, unos de los proyectos Web3 que han venido a América Latina y que también tengo la oportunidad de conocer de alianzas, de proyectos, de conocer su plataforma y de cómo se enriquece la Web3 sencillamente. Podemos conocer los tokens, las dApps, todo su ecosistema. Community Celo, workshops, hackathons, wallets en Bogotá, Colombia, y universidades. También, gracias a ello, podemos conocer a la genial comunidad de Celo, donde gracias a ellos podemos construir de una manera económica y sustentable para la sociedad y para el medio ambiente. Aquí también les comparto el bootcamp de Celo Colombia, que se hizo en universidades en el mes de mayo. Celatam, también con otras iniciativas como MiniPay y Conecta Blockchain, conecta las diferentes billeteras y hace que Colombia empiece a transar con las nuevas iniciativas en cripto, usando de peso colombiano. Aquí otra iniciativa VAF, su objetivo es hacer crecer el ecosistema blockchain en América Latina, una organización sin fin de lucro que logra conferencias, crear el futuro de las tecnologías de América Latina de una mayor adopción en el ecosistema, pasando por universidades también, donde hemos logrado participar en retos, crear apps usando Rust, Stylus, Smart Contracts, usando dApps, usando Solidity. The power of hackathons. Skill development. Gracias a las hackatones podemos nuestro stack tecnológico en desarrollo de software en los diferentes lenguajes de programación, unirlos con la nueva Web3, con los contratos inteligentes, con las wallets, con las DeFi, innovar y resolver problemas que usan por debajo blockchain, demostrando de que la blockchain sirve para solucionar el problema del dinero y así poder tener una mejor sociedad. También ser reconocido, obtener premios, networking, oportunidades, poder seguir escalando la idea a tu startup. I'm here, Hackathon, Vara Network, Bogotá, and México, and todo el mundo, and the world. Aquí, Team Vara, en México. Yo liderando desde Colombia. Se realizaron equipos en varios países, se entregaron premios y así se constituyó más el ecosistema de la Web 3.0. I'm here y tiro en Guatemala. Participamos en Wildathon, quedamos de segundo lugar, también en todo el mundo, con Scroll, con diferentes blockchain y patrocinadores. También se participó en todo el mundo y gracias a nuestra idea logramos ganar el Bounty en segundo lugar. Posteriormente también desde Bogotá y en todo el mundo, Scroll de Ethereum, Vortex, Contributors Hackathon, igualmente con diferentes blockchains. Participamos con nuestro proyecto y logramos ganar un traje general, donde eso nos permite fortalecer más nuestro conocimiento en Web3 y mostrar de que realmente estamos construyendo desde la TAM para el mundo, demostrando que el talento también se construye desde la TAM. I'm here, Algorand Foundation, también in-event, aprendiendo de su kit, algo kit, usando Python, los contratos inteligentes, también Algorand, su huella de carbono, mejorando la trazabilidad del código y demostrando que también con diferentes blockchain y protocolos, construyendo, siendo constructores, builders, podemos crear cosas magníficas que solucionan algo en el mundo. El tip de Lemon, la billetera, aquí también, here. En Latinoamérica, workshops, nos reunimos, hablamos de cómo mejorar estos productos, tenemos conexiones desde Latinoamérica. Aquí, Crypto Latin Fest, también desde Latinoamérica, una genial comunidad donde nos reunimos. Cada año se hace el evento y así podemos reunirnos, diferentes de todo el mundo, diferentes personas y blockchains, seguir construyendo el futuro de la Internet. Educación es muy importante en la Web3, cursos virtuales. Gracias a esos cursos virtuales, pues la posibilidad de ganar bounties por el compromiso educativo, por construir, por aportar en el código, en la documentación, en traducciones, Spanish-English, que permite que sin una barrera idiomática todos construir este futuro en la blockchain. Formar parte de una comunidad disponible con una ruta de aprendizaje, donde desarrolladores, actores en el ecosistema, construyamos este nuevo futuro. Vara Bogotá. Vara Bogotá, aquí también en las universidades, convocamos a estudiantes, maestros, que quieran ser parte de este nuevo ecosistema, cambiar las rutas de trabajo y demostrando que en las universidades también se pueden otros programas que permitan una tecnología descentralizada para todos. Para Network, el Pixadai. Aquí, en el Pixadai Mundial, nos reunimos México, Colombia, India, con una misión de centralizar, tener una soberanía digital. Y aquí tenemos la oportunidad de participar. Y también en los últimos días estamos probando VoxPay. VoxPay es la forma más fácil de pagar con criptomonedas desde los bancos de aquí, con las billeteras MetaMask, Celo, Avalanche, Core Wallet. Podemos desde nuestro banco pagar con las criptomonedas y realizar esa trazabilidad sin intermediarios, sin ningún tipo de problema. Aquí también usando la billetera de MetaMask, también demostrando de que con las criptomonedas, usando blockchain, podemos hacer uso diario de ellas y vivir nuestro día a día gracias a estas nuevas tecnologías sin tener problemas al pagar nuestras cosas, al hacer cualquier transacción, podemos pagar. Aquí les comparto a share links communities, Celo Colombia, Hive en español, Algorand en español, Crypto Latin Fest, Vara Network en Spanish, y también las globales para que puedan ver qué iniciativas se están creando desde Latinoamérica. Aquí he decidido crear un pop-up por si desean reclamarlo de esta grandiosa charla. Social media, donde aquí comparto mi desarrollo, lo que se está construyendo en la Web3 y en diferentes comunidades desde Latinoamérica, y también se comparten diferentes iniciativas, SpaceX, donde actores en el ecosistema dan su testimonio y todos construimos en comunidad, ya que el poder de las comunidades está en la empatía, en compartir el conocimiento y que todos aprendamos de estas nuevas tecnologías y de esta nueva economía digital. Thanks very much for intervention.
All right. Well, Sebastian, muchas gracias. And thank you to everyone who joined us for that inspiring session. We switched the language mid-session to better support our amazing audience from Latin America. And we're so glad to see how communities across the region are truly leading the Web3 adoption. Well, and with that, we are officially wrapping up with the day one of Blockchain Community Day 2025. A huge thank you to all our speakers, participants, and everyone who tuned in from around the world. Well, don't forget to join our Telegram channel. And we have plenty of rewards for you prepared there. If you want to get the Netflix subscription, App Store gift cards, you are welcome there. We'll see you back here tomorrow with more brilliant sessions. Until then, stay curious, stay decentralized, and good night.